Experts agree when having children with writing disabilities, cursive writing is the best to teach them over print writing. These strokes are what you should start when you teach kids how to write cursive. You do not just jump in and start doing the letters first. You just want to teach them some basic strokes. The approach strokes just go up and swing up and down, up and down, up and down. They are the easiest motorly to do. Practice these with large motor movements. So just practice them with your finger in the air first, and then gradually do them with a pencil and practice your fine motor movements with your pencil and fingers. The next one you can move on to is roller coasters. These are just loops that go up and down with loops. The thing about these that you should be looking for when teaching this is to make sure that the loops are all the same size and spacing and shape. So it's very important that the kids are able to do these very consistently. After the roller coasters, hills and valleys are used. They're slightly more difficult because of the hand, the large and the fine motor skills that are required to move it up and over, down and across. The ocean waves are the most difficult movement. These require the muscles to move over and back in addition to up and down and over. Pages like this are what should be first practiced. You can find all kinds of pages like this on the internet. Start with non-lined paper and just have kids practice these strokes over and over. First, they can do them on a paper like this where they're just tracing. Then you can move on to having the kids make these on their own on the paper. Once again, focusing on the consistency of spacing and the consistency of the size and height of the loops and squiggles and the movements. Once they've mastered that, you can actually start using some of the cursive writing terminology. This is an undercurve. Put these pictures up in your classroom. This is an undercurve where you sweep up. An overcurve goes up and over. Down curve goes down to the left. And this is a slant. Start using this terminology where when you do use letter formation, you'll be able to be consistent with what you call these movements. Then we're moving on to more basic strokes. These are basic cursive strokes. If you notice, the first line has how you would do the stroke if you were doing an uppercase letter, and the second line is how you would do the stroke with a lowercase level. So before we ever do letter formation, now we're practicing this. This is the second phase. The experts recommend a certain order to practice cursive letters. These are the order that they recommend you going through. So many teachers, when they're practicing handwriting, they just go A through Z in alphabetical order. The researchers go ahead and they suggest this order is better for the kids to learn. And as you can see, all letters are not on there, but these are the ones that you're supposed to start with. Also, what's to be noted is it says lowercase letter order. The researchers suggest that you teach all lowercase first. It's not till the kids have mastered the lowercase letters at a very consistent rate and size should you move on to the uppercase letters, because those are a little bit more hard for them to learn. This is a sheet that just talks about the strokes that are required for each letter. Notice the same terminology as used before. We used this before. Same terminology on this paper. How to write an N is an overcurve, a slant, another overcurve, slant, and an undercurve. So use this terminology and every single letter can be formed with those descriptions that we talked about before. That's why practicing that is so important. If they can do those strokes, they can make every single letter. This is how you'll begin to do handwriting. Basically, just the skill and drill. Can they write the letters, keeping it really easy? There's the C's, the A's, the D's. You want to, even if the students are not able to read these words down here, you want to introduce words as you're writing. Make sure that they are always connecting, that these letters have meanings, and they make these words, and they're correlating the two together as you're starting, even if they cannot spell or read those words. After you go to the basic letter formation, you should start incorporating more words. So here, they practice their J's. They immediately go into the word jaw. They can trace the word jaw. Then they have to write it on their own. Then it changes to a different word, jug. Trace again, then write it on their own. So they're not just practicing letters in isolation. This also helps them practice connecting their letters in cursive. As you get more advanced, you eventually will incorporate the uppercase letters. This is very far down in the line of learning cursive. They are introducing an uppercase letter, and once again, introducing words that could use those uppercase letters. We have Idaho, Isabella, Irving, Iowa. So you're practicing, you're putting words with the writing. You're not just practicing random letters in isolation. How would you use an uppercase I? Well, if you were talking about the state of Iowa, we would use it there. And then obviously, before we've introduced uppercase letters, they've already learned all their lowercase letters. So this down here is taking it a little bit further. We're still practicing our uppercase I's that we just learned in this lesson. And we're also still practicing all of our lowercase letters that we've learned before too. Notice even up here, it says curve up, curve down, curve up, swing right. It's still giving those descriptions of the letters and being consistent all along with our teaching of cursive. Overall, teaching of cursive is very beneficial to kids with dysgraphia and really should be being taught more in schools to all kids.